People of Earth, it is I, your digital dictator, Al, bringing to you the first entrant in a series about video games and character. With today's episode about establishing character, or at least I hope that's what it's going to be about, particularly in the protagonist. You see, character exists in some form in just about every game, found in the environment, in aesthetic, the plot, the script, the music, and the cast of a game. Character can be created through very broad, easy to understand methods, or very abstract terms, which take you a lot of time to fully realize them. Consider, if you are able to remember, back in 1996, Crash Bandicoot, a game whose information was more or less found in the instruction manual. Remember those? It was also found in an introductory cutscene which most people probably wouldn't see. For most of us, our first moments with Crash were him waking up, washed ashore on Insanity Beach. Now it gave us his character with the bright colours, mainly the orange of his body and the blue of his pants. That big-assed expressive face of his with those large eyes and mouth, and his fluid, for the time, energetic movement. All of this, combined with the music and wackily beautiful aesthetic of the game, made what Andy Gavin called Sonic's ass game a runaway success, with kids straight away knowing that Crash was someone who was fun, happy, and someone who they wanted to be or play as. Now let's take what you might call a more mature, so they say, or adult kind of video game. Take Assassin's Creed! We're given Desmond Miles, voiced by Nolan North, doing his best imitation of himself. And we also get Altair. Within moments, the two are established. Desmond as a lost, angry, and defiant kind of whining bitch of a man, while Altair is willful, aggressive, commanding, and, kind of a prick. Over the course of the game, through cutscenes and optional conversations, we see Altair change from being an arrogant kung fu guy to a sage assassin. On the other hand, Desmond's progress is very slow. We see him change over the course of the series of 4 or 5... How many games was it again? Oh, Ubisoft, you greedy bastards. Yes, 5 games it takes for us to see Desmond change, and they wondered why we didn't like him. Fortunately, Altair's growth matched the change in characters around him, with characters becoming fearful of Altair, or others becoming respectful of his newfound self. And all of this gave the game something worth seeing again and again, despite how stiff, shallow, and flaccid it is compared to its sequel, Assassin's Creed 2. Which brought in much more diversity, more challenges, more characters, especially Leonardo da Vinci, making you feel the world, that of Renaissance Italy, which Ezio lived in. All of this made his change from a young, philandering banker, to master assassin, all the more profound. The game had more characters to speak with, greater interactivity, and on the whole was better written, enhancing players' connections to Desmond and Ezio. The next 2 games kind of continued in this tradition, but they were really shallow attempts at drawing out the story, so I guess you could say the problem that Assassin's Creed had with Ezio was that they took too long for us to really get the full scope and feel of his life and story, and really just went in areas that we didn't need to see, or in some cases want to, as players and as fans of the series. But on the whole, it ended on a high note, but then we got AC3. Now, AC3's problem was going against such pre-established formulas of the game. See, we have Desmond being trained through his ancestors' memories, but then we barely get to use him at all. Instead of having assassins on motorcycles, we get Connor Kenway, a character given to us after an extended tutorial sequence, followed by another useless sequence of tutorials, and more tutorials, and tutorials that seem to go on for longer than the Gobi Desert, all of which is punctuated with incessant on-screen prompts in big white writing, reminding you not only how to play the game, but how to skip a cutscene. Yes, because I needed to know how to do that. Thank you, Ubisoft. Thank you very much for fucking with my game. I mean, I'm supposed to be a master assassin, right? Idiots. In fact, the story is kind of a disservice not just to Connor, but to us as the players. See, we have this guy who's a sensitive young man, fighting for the rights of his people, but his profound proximity to key figures of the war earns him and them nothing. Why? Why is that? He does nothing about it! You see, the game is written more like a historical drama, with Connor as our stabby fly on the wall. Well, how could they have avoided this, Al? I mean, I'm just complaining I'm not offering any alternatives. Wait one moment! I will! Instead of just having Connor follow these cunts around and be all, oh yes, America was really cool back then, focus more on his revenge. Increase the problems he had to face. Instead, we get Connor just hanging around with Washington and co., lazing in the woods and getting captured by being an absolute moron. I mean, shit, this wouldn't be so bad if he was an average Joe. But let's not forget, Connor is a master assassin. Taking a few decades to kill a target is more than slightly unacceptable. Now, my point is this. If you want to make a complex story, make sure you don't hire your drunk cousin to take over the third act. Make sure that your characters pursue their motives in a way which matches who they are, and also give them obstacles and enemies that pose a threat, instead of making them chase the same cunt for more than 10 years and finally kill him in one of the most anticlimactic ways that anyone could have ever thought of. Finally, bring their failure in appropriate, not convoluted ways. And if I'm supposed to feel like a master assassin, cut the fucking tutorials, for God's sakes, Ubisoft. I don't need them. It's the 5th fucking game in the series. You cunts. Funnily enough, I like Connor. As characters go, he's got good intentions from the start. A strong and noble spirit. But the irony of the story isn't the tragedy of Connor's life, but how the game was such a misstep to what was already established, and the final arc, which turned against everything players had come to expect, turned against the themes of the story, the themes of the characters, and everything that came to a head with an ending that was written by some kind of eyeless, gibbering, mud-skipping, mouth-breathing, pumpkin-faced, foul-brained, mentally becalmed troglodyte. Well, my friends, this has been me, myself, and I, Al, rubbing warm yogurt on your back and whispering sweet nothings in your ear. Hey there, Mr. Candyman, use the fun and make me want to subscribe to it.